Shwmai, croeso, hello and welcome to episode 59 of the Bluebirds Nest, the end of season review episode, and I'm delighted to welcome back two of the club's great leaders, Captain Dylan Rees and Chairman Mr. Rob Edwards. Welcome both.
Cheers, Rob.
It's a special episode that we'll look back on the season and announce the winners of the Bluebirds Nest Awards as voted by followers of the club. But first, while I've got you both here, a couple of questions for you. Dylan, I come to you first then. It's been a long 11 months almost since that ACL injury against Lan in that Northern Ireland sort of pre-Europe fixture. I think it's almost 7.5 months since you had the operation to repair it. We've spoken to Tristan earlier in the season on an episode about your recovery, but you know we see you at the ground almost every week and keeping an eye on your recovery. But how are you and how is the rehab, I suppose?
Yes, it's going well. Like you said, it's been a long sort of 11 months and then I think it's almost 8 now post-op. But it's going well. I think I've stayed ahead of the curve for the large majority of it. You know, Tristan's, been my sort of saviour in that respect. You know, he's guided me through it all, so I can't praise him enough. But yeah, hopefully now I've got some testing tomorrow actually, to hopefully put me through to like the final phase of like your ACL rehab where you can start to return to training and stuff. So hopefully, yeah, I can hit the ground running then come pre-season and have a good bash next season.
Awesome. Yeah, I saw you had a beaming smile on your face a couple of weeks ago. You put your kit on. The shirt's first time it's been worn.
Yeah.
The number 5 kit. You put your boots on. We had obviously team photos a couple of weeks ago. It was great to see you in that kit. Is there a specific date you're hoping to get back, or is it like you said? Is it just a case of sometime during pre-season to get to a return to action?
Yeah, I think if I start pre-season steadily, I'm not going to jump the gun and jump straight back in. But if I can, return to training and do everything that I can, have a couple of weeks of training and then get some game time and build that up, week on week, then hopefully, I'll be, fighting fit, ready for the start of the season then. But yeah, the sooner the better, really. But like I said, as long as it's not going to jeopardise it happening again.
Yeah, and in the personal life, you've got a busy few weeks ahead as well. I know. Baby Rees is imminent at the end of this month. How is Mrs. Rees doing?
Yeah, she's doing well. She's very big, but she won't mind me saying that. But yeah, healthy by all accounts, by the midwife says. So yeah, it's just on a ticking time bomb now, ready to dart to the hospital whenever it happens.
Amazing. Well, busy few weeks ahead, but wish you both the best with that. Reflecting on the season shortly, but you've teed me up there. We're talking pre-season. Pens has been at the club almost 2 years, and he's not really gone through a traditional pre-season, I think. Obviously, the first one he came in, pre-season was pretty much finishing, and I think last season, we all know how last summer played out. I know it's a period of rest now, but decisions regarding pre-season are being made, and fixtures probably going to be announced over the next few weeks. We're going into a new season that's going to be against 11 league teams yet again, Rob. The review, I suppose, the review announced another review coming in September with the potential structure changes. But that Cymru League's review over the last few weeks, what are your sort of general feelings about it? I think, from my perspective, I think there's some really good moves and some perhaps that are going to be extremely challenging. What are your thoughts, Rob?
Yeah, it's mixed, to be honest. I spoke to quite a few people over the last week or so since it's come out, and obviously for the 18 months or so since we did the workshops in Aberystwyth and up in Chester. The obvious gap was the investment in people. Clubs need resource to be able to market themselves and bring in additional income, and it's the same for the league. The league needs to be able to market itself to generate better sponsorship deals, better TV deals to then obviously work its way down into the clubs. It's a silly comparison, but the Premier League was built on Rupert Murdoch's Sky Money. The multi-millions coming into the league ultimately grew the Premier League to what it is now. It gave clubs the ability to buy players, pay the best wages, and have the best stadia, and for them to have the resource to get the best commercial deals. Obviously, this is massively in its infancy compared to that, but if the value of the league isn't there, then that's not going to filter down into clubs to support their growth. So there is an element of investment in personnel, which is a positive. Us as a club, I mean, we've invested in that personnel already for the most part, so we've tried to stay ahead of where we're going, but obviously that's welcome. It opens up another opportunity for a role within the club, which is something that we do need to expand on. And obviously the league has promised investment in its personnel and its governance to make it the kind of most professional league it can be. There's obviously other things come out like league expansion. At this stage, I think I know it's a priority for a lot of people purely because I guess the variety and the excitement in the league. But if you're a league that isn't marketable and the amount of money coming into the league is very small, if you increase that to 16, 18 teams, you're going to dilute it even more, which has a more negative impact on things. So I think I'd be very open to a 16 to 18 team league, assuming that the finances there make it kind of worthwhile for everyone and has the best benefit for each of those clubs. And don't get me started on VAR, but that's obviously making its way in some capacity. VAR light or diet VAR, as I think you can call it, is going to come in, and I hope that it's been really considered how logistically it's going to work. I think the money could be better spent on educating and recruiting referees, having a pool of full-time referees that can really kind of fly the flag and give budding referees a kind of a platform to make a living out of the game. I would much rather, personally, the money been spent on that. But look, if it improves the overall standard and kind of gets better decisions and a fairer playing field, then obviously it will be hopefully a positive. But it's a huge investment, and I really hope they've kind of thought through how it's going to work. And obviously there's other elements to the review which look positive. I think we just need to we've got the top level now. I think we need to dive into exactly how that's going to look like and what that will directly mean in terms of clubs from a governance, financial, marketing point of view. So yeah, still a lot to uncover, I think. And I think I've said all along, 6 million is nowhere near enough money to change the course of this league in the short to medium term. There's clubs that have been leagues that have been invested in for years and years that are coming to fruition now 5-10 years after that investment. So we're still quite a way behind, and it needs to be fairly aggressive, and it needs to be stage one of an ongoing plan. But they'll need to see investment from the 6 million. Hopefully with what they're spending the money on will enable them to see an investment and then either tap into to government for some more money or go down the back of the sofa or wherever this funding is coming from and continue to invest and develop the league. So still it's positive that at least it's out and we know the bones of it, but I think we need a bit more clarity on certain fronts before we can really see where it's going to go. But yeah, there's definitely positives, and fingers crossed it will have the impact that we all want.
Yeah, there is, like you said, there's lots to unpick from it all. The one that I think we almost piloted, I suppose, for them. We didn't even realize it was coming. But the Friday night fixtures, over phase 2 in particular, I think that proved to be a really positive step for us, across these last few months. Attendances were increasing weekly. I think going forward, certainly in a regional context, I think that would be a really good move. We had obviously 4 opposition in the south, so playing home and away on a Friday night helped us. Obviously, we had Colwyn Bay in the bottom 6 as well, which were Saturday fixtures. I just, I'm looking at you, Del. You're a teacher, the day job. I don't see how those away fixtures, Carnarvon and, some of the Flintshire-based teams, it's simply just going to be unachievable, I think, to do that every other week or whatever it's going to be. So we won't go into it in too much now. We'll almost sit back and wait to see that unfold. But on attendances and fan engagement in general this season, Rob, I want to start with we're going to start with the Unsung Hero Award category, but we limited that award, the winners anyway, to play-in staff. But when you look at the Unsung Hero, I think ironically it is the singing and the noise around the Oggy Bridge Meadow this season that have sort of played that 12th player sort of, if you like, and really helped the boys. We scored a lot of late goals, and the fan engagement's been great. What have you made of the improvement again this season?
It's been amazing. It's been 4 years of work into kind of building that desire to come and watch the team play, and obviously the away following is amazing as well, having 30-40 away games, traveling all over the country in what is a notoriously difficult country to travel in. They're traveling in numbers and making a lot of noise, and I think it's what we wanted when we took over, and the initial objective was to bring the club a lot closer to the community, and to go from kind of an average attendance of below 200 in the Cymru South to now really close to 500 and being the best supported team in South Wales is a great achievement. We're all really proud of it, and that's a lot of that is down to the years of work that everyone has put in. But no, as you said, they've really embraced it and make the home games as fun/hostile as possible, and created monsters really. The casuals with their drum and their flags they've been unbelievable. And yeah, the fact they travel in numbers away from home is a massive commitment, because it's not cheap to get up and down the country every weekend, and you give up a day of your weekend. It's a massive commitment. I struggled to do it as an Orient fan, as fanatical as I was years ago. Away games were just not achievable for me. So yeah, it's a massive. We're really grateful, but kind of the culmination of all the hard work that everyone's put in over the last 3 or 4 years. And obviously the on-field plays a part of that as well, with the success we've had and the style of football we've tried to play, and we've had some great matches at the Meadow. So yeah, everyone's done their bit on and off the pitch, and hopefully we'll continue. We won't take it for granted that we've done all we can do now. We'll constantly keep trying to bang that drum, whether it's yeah, as we said before, whether it's an alpaca or whether it's a crossbar challenge at half time. We'll keep trying to come up with ways to make it the best place in the league to watch football, and hopefully they'll keep coming.
Yeah, definitely. And say keep coming there. There was a comment on social media from former chairman Dave Hughes, it was, and it was a fair comment almost as well, which paid reference to the volunteers at the club and staff. And he mentioned Alan Thomas. The list is endless. You know, we could list many individuals throughout the season that have played their part in moving the club forward as well. And I look back just before Christmas, we had to rearrange very quickly a TNS home fixture. And, you know, a lot of the regular volunteers were unavailable that evening or that afternoon. So we put a call to arms almost to the public in Pembrokeshire, you know, any willing volunteers. And they came in their numbers, and a number of those have continued week in, week out ever since. Even so much, the Pembrokeshire League, you know, semi-finals and cup finals, you're seeing the same bodies there in their fluorescence, you know, representing the club and things like that. That must be for you really good to see that invaluable resource continue and grow.
The volunteers have been amazing since I took over, and obviously long beyond that, the club was run by volunteers at board level for all of its history. So even though kind of what we've tried to achieve off the pitch and professionalise and move forward and bring in full-time staff and focus on the kind of media commercial element, we still can't operate without them. We still need them, and we will do for as long as the club is going. So and it comes a point where you kind of, these guys that work tirelessly for 40-50 years, the likes of Alan, Kevin, I mean, I'm not going to name everyone because I'll probably miss someone out, but they've worked tirelessly for 40-50 years. It'd be nice for them to actually enjoy their Saturday at times and come to the ground as and when they want to, rather than when they need to, and come and sit down in the stands with a hot dog and watch the game. So I think having kind of newer kind of more people looking to come into the club and be a part of it and volunteer and do their bit and want to be involved in it, obviously shows the draw of what we're trying to achieve in terms of making it a great atmosphere for people to be. But also it's probably raising a bit of awareness. People probably weren't really aware of to what level we were playing and what goes on at the club day to day. So it kind of opens a door for those to come and learn about what we're doing. So yeah, the club will always need volunteers and as many as we can get, particularly on match days. But yeah, it'd be nice for some of these guys that have serviced the club for decades and decades to actually just come and enjoy themselves a bit more these days.
Yeah, it's a big year coming up for the club. It's an anniversary year, and I'm sure more details of that will come out. I suppose exclusive. The Bluebirds Nest will return next year as well. So I'm thinking there's a number of people who I've probably got lots of anecdotes and stories from over those decades supporting the club. So watch this space, I think, on that one. We'll have to get them on and have a chat with some of them. But let's get on to the awards then. First award, like I said, the unsung hero. Lots of different people have got different perspective of this. And as the nominations came in, you could see their thinking behind it. The three with the highest number of votes were Ricky Watts, Yori Humphreys, and Lee Jenkins. Three defensive-minded players. So, Del, I'm going to come to you for this one. What would you say about those three individuals then? Watsy, Yori, and Jenks?
Yeah, they've been amazing all season. Obviously, Watsy he's like part of the furniture, and he's been around forever, it seems like. He just gives his all every game, doesn't matter where he plays or how long he plays. He just does as best he can, and that's Ricky in a nutshell. You know, he's come up with some huge goals this season. Same for Jenks. You know, he scored a few, but you know, there's not many better defenders than him in the league, and you can see that. I think he's played every minute, something crazy like that. So that, yeah, you know, you can't ask more from Jenks really. Keep doing what he's doing. Obviously, he was represented in Wales as well. An awesome game there against one of the top strikers in the conference. I didn't hear of him in more game really. Him and Emlyn tied him up. And then Yori, you know, he's progressed so much. You know, I've watched, you know, from the sidelines a lot this season. And from where he was, you know, 12 months ago to now is a different place. You know, you can see he's grown in stature as a player. But he's been obviously a bit more vocal now in the change rooms as well, which is awesome. And you can see that leadership he had in the 19s, as you know, is carrying it himself well into the first team. So all fantastic players and fantastic assets. And yeah, hopefully we can keep Watsy going for another year.
Yeah, you've summed the three characters up really well there, and I think the winner is very much worthy of this title. It's an individual for me who always seems to go above and beyond in an on and off the field manner. I must say his soup making skills are something that need addressing though, Rob. So it goes to say unsung hero of the year is Yori Humphreys. Congratulations, Yori. Rob, have you got over his cooking yet?
I've got about 3 months left on the very strong probiotics to flush out what was ever in the system. No, I expected big things. I heard he was a cracking baker, but my goodness, that was. I mean, I've eaten in some places, and that's definitely one of the worst things I've ever eaten. And the fact he was up against Jack Wilson just shows how really poor it was. But yeah, what he lacks in the kitchen, he certainly makes up for on the pitch. I mean, I remember seeing him probably for the first time at Airbus away. I think when Wayne was in charge, and we took a team of, I think it was only 11 fit players and 3 or 4 kids on the bench, and you could see they were petrified. But I think Alaric maybe went off after 7-8 minutes and looked to the bench, and there was these 3 kids on there, and obviously Yori got the call. But my God, he put himself about. I think first thing he put a knee in the back of one of the centre forwards when he went up for a header, and he really looked at home. And I think he's had to be patient over the last couple of years as he's been kind of flirting with the kind of being a part of the first team on a regular basis. Obviously, he's always there or thereabouts in the squad, but probably didn't get as much playing time as probably he wanted, purely because of obviously the quality in the squad and having good runs of form. But I think the last few games he came in, he was excellent. Pontip really came on and changed the game, won the penalty, and bust the gut to get there. Like a real endeavour to get there before the keeper. So no, he's really developing into a really good footballer. And look, he's a nice lad as well, from a good family, and they do a lot in and around the club. So yeah, he's you talk about Ricky Watts. I think he could be ready to hand over the baton of Mr. Halford West, hopefully. And if he keeps improving, he'll have a great career for the club.
Definitely. Yeah, congratulations, Yori. Come on to Young Player of the Year next then. And for a team that is so young, this could have probably been anybody amongst the squad. And it's no secret, we've got the youngest squad in the league. 21 and a half, I believe, was the stat thrown around a while ago. You know, many of the players, including yourself, Dylan, who've missed large spells of the season, if not all of the season, are some of the older ones in the squad, the more experienced, you know, within it. You know, yourself, Elliot, Kyle, Jazz has missed quite, a few games. So a youthful first team, to say the least. Those that have come up from the development squad, Rob, you must be really pleased with how they've acquitted themselves. You know, young local talent as well.
Yeah, look, you can see the quality by how easily they won the league. I mean, that was an amazing achievement considering where they were a couple of years ago. So the fact we've been able to recruit and develop players through to that has been amazing. And I think the integration within the first team training for large parts as well obviously opens doors, bridges the gap, and obviously gives Tony the opportunity to see these players, understand them, and work with them a little bit closer. And obviously picking up Harry and Jacob straight into the first team really from not much game time in the development kind of shows what a worthwhile kind of exercise that was. But no, look, where we are, we're hamstrung geographically with where realistically we can recruit players from. So we need to make sure that there's a pathway for young talented players to want to break into the first team, to enable them to want to stay and develop here. And I think we've probably had 10 to 12 debutants from the development squad, which I haven't done the maths, but I would struggle to believe that there's a club that's brought more development players into first team games, actually physical game time and being a part of the first 11 or coming off the bench. I don't believe there will be another club that has that many. So I think it's something we can all be, again, really proud of and excited by. I mean, you look at some of these players that broke into the first team. Jacob looks completely at home. I think I've said it a few times, but the Connors Key away game with Harry John and Jacob Owen in the middle of the park up against Noah Edwards and some of the best midfielders in the league, and they played a part in winning the game for us. So no, it's really exciting to see obviously these players coming through. Obviously gutted to lose the experience of obviously the skipper and Jazz and Elliot and Pat's been out for so long. I think having those around would have definitely kind of assisted their development, I guess, during the course of the season. But no, looking forward now, we've got a talented young squad along with some senior players coming back, and I'm excited for next year. I think we all should be, really.
Definitely, yeah. And again, like I said, it could have been one of many players from the squad, but the three in particular who topped the votes are Harry John, Rio Dyer, and that man again, Yori Humphreys. It was really close, but the winner of the Nest Young Player of the Year, as voted by those who tune in, is a young man who's captained his country this year, remarkably hit his 50th appearance for the first team, having only just, I think, a couple of weeks ago turned 18. It's the one and only Harry John. Congratulations, Harry. Jazz was on with me a few weeks ago, Del. He had really high praise for H in how he sort of settled and grown into the squad. You know, when I chatted to him, he linked him to a young Joe Allen, which I don't think you can have much higher praise, certainly from a Pembrokeshire perspective. But what have you made, you know, watching from the sidelines and in and around the dressing room of H's continued development?
Yeah, it's like a similar situation to Yori, really. You know, he first came in, obviously he's going to be a bit shy and, you know, just keep himself to himself. But then his football speaks for itself. You know, he's right at home in the first team. You know, it's never he's never fazed by any situation he finds himself in, either that on the pitch, in the training ground. And yeah, I always remember I had to pull him down in one session, and there's like a 17-year-old kid giving you the run around in training. I had to pull him down and try and, you know, pick myself up from getting the run around. But yeah, he's magnificent, and he's only going to get better. And say 50 appearances in a first team, whether that's anywhere.
Yeah,
it's an amazing achievement by the time you just turned 18. So yeah, long that may that continue. And like I said, he's only going to get better. Yeah.
Rob, what are your thoughts on H's continued development?
Yeah, he's really exciting. I think from when he sort of broke into the first team and Tony brought him into the squad, to be honest, not really seen a huge amount of him. I think he went straight from the under 50, the under 16s into development and was picked up pretty much straight away. So we didn't really see much of him, but yeah, you can see he's fearless really when he's on the ball. He's not in his own head. He's just letting his football do the talking, as Dylan said. And yeah, 50 games is amazing. And there's times you've seen him on the bench and he's come on and he's changed the game for us, which for a young lad to do shows a lot of maturity. I think, to be honest, I think a lot of the young players coming through have shown a lot of maturity. You see that in Europe in how they conducted themselves, and in that environment as well, being able to go on and thrive and play minutes against Skendia in Cardiff when you're right up against it. Yeah, and I think it's as I said before, there's a lot of exciting young players coming through. Harry's certainly one. I think will go on and have a really good career. Hopefully, we'll be here for as long as we can entice him. But love to see players go on and play at the highest level. It's a great advert for the club. If we can bring in, give first team opportunities and develop them into good pros that have good careers, I think it's beneficial to everyone really. So I'd love to see that.
Amazing. Well, we've spoken about Yori. We'll come on to Rio later on, but we'll leave it at that. Young player of the year from the Bluebirds Nest, then Harry John. Del, I mentioned you have been pretty much ever present this season at home fixtures. And I think in particular, we've seen nearly all of the goal of the season contenders at the Oggy Bridge Meadow. There has been some absolute belters, particularly off a certain left boot, I must say. What goals have stood out for you this season?
There's been a lot, isn't there? Like you said, there's been a lot of good goals and a lot of big goals. You know, you think the away ones at Barry twice. You know, the free kicks we've scored, some great team goals as well. But I think, was it Rees against Pembrokeshire towards the back end of the season? And he just stuck it right in the top left corner. And I think the commentator was gobsmacked as well as the rest of the people in the ground. But I think that's probably the best free kicks I've seen in a long time. Effortless and just straight in, no problem. Keeper couldn't get anywhere near it.
Yeah, definitely. There has been a lot of votes for all the contenders, but two of Abu's long rangers and one Corey Shepherd goal also made the top three. What did you think of that one a couple of weeks ago?
I couldn't believe it. That's probably him voting 100 times for himself. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I thought, you know, when he chipped it over the top, someone ran onto it, and I don't know what happened in goal, but it just span and went in. I don't know, but yeah, I couldn't believe it.
A freak of a goal. Rob, you're almost part of the goalkeepers union. You'll be glad to know that even though it's made the top three, it hasn't. It's chip/pass goal. It hasn't ended up being the winner. It's indeed one of Rees Abruzzesi's belters that has taken top spot. It's the rocket against Pembrokeshire last autumn that wins Nest Goal of the Year. So congratulations, Abu. It's a worthy winning goal, I think. And I remember we'd been peppering their box early on in the game with Jack Wilson's long throws, and I had the camera on right behind Jack, waiting for him to launch one in the box. And he went short. He threw it to Harry. Harry spun and laid it off. So the focus of the camera was completely out. But, you know, it was 35 yards. He just smashed it. And I don't think any keeper would have got hold of that one. So, like I said, worthy winner. Next award then, newcomer of the year. Rob, going back to last year, at the end of May, after that playoff victory, I think it was about 8 or 9 players we said goodbye to from that squad. And I think throughout the period of build-up to Europe, busy bringing in new additions from fellow Cymru Prem teams across the border and from across Europe. We had to pretty much build almost half a squad, it seemed, at that point. You must be pleased with how everybody gelled together, you know, across Europe and throughout the season.
Yeah, definitely. Look, it wasn't ideal, obviously, winning the playoffs and players leaving for a number of reasons. And look, you've got to be realistic. There's a draw of Europe, but I mean, you're not Man United that are going to be, or well, not anymore, but you're not Man City that are going to be playing in Europe in March. I mean, it's 2-4 games if you're lucky. So I think weighing up their own kind of pathways and what they're looking for against obviously a run in Europe is difficult to really use that solely as a draw. So yeah, look, we're disappointed to lose a couple of players. Obviously, a couple have come back since. Yeah, look, it was a lot of upheaval with the short pre-season as well. We had, I mean, barely any time to really make our mark and try and get a group together. So yeah, we had to work incredibly hard to get a squad that we thought that could compete in Europe. And I mean, myself being in and around it, you could see there was a lot of camaraderie straight away. There was there was a good togetherness, and you don't have performances and achieve what we achieved in Europe without everyone completely believing in and trusting in those around you, and you could definitely see that. It was a great spirit and a great atmosphere, and something I'll always remember being a part of, and what we achieved. You don't do that with a bad egg in a dressing room. Obviously, a bit of a reality shock then back into the league, and obviously playing in the Cardiff City Stadium and with against internationals with 2,000 people is very different to playing Pontypridd at home on a Friday night or Pennymont away. I think that was a bit of a smash to reality fairly quickly, and we obviously had no time to really think about it. I think 4 or 5 days after Europe, we were back in action. So I think we to get on so well and to all buy into what Tony wanted them to do straight away in massive games in Europe was an amazing feat. And I think you see throughout the year, although results didn't go for us at the beginning, we obviously we picked up and we had a few really good runs and got some great results, but you always felt there was a good connection between the players. And I think it'd be sad to obviously pre-season coming now in the season. It's always sad to see players come and go, but it's part of football. But I think looking obviously from where I am, I've seen a good group that enjoyed being around each other.
Yeah, I think, like you said, they're both on and off the pitch. I'm sure people remember the new recruits over the last 12 months and the inputs over the last year for many years to come. There's been lots of newcomers, and I genuinely think nearly every single player had at least a couple of votes in this category. We narrow it down to 3 again. The top voted were our top goal scorer this year, Martel Taylor-Crossdale, Rio Dyer, yet again, and Kai Whitmore. We look at Kai first. Dylan, his performances in Europe, and I think that shootout penalty in particular stands out for me. He's been causing carnage on and off the pitch all season, I think, Kai. You've not had the chance to play with him yourself, but what have you made of these performances throughout this season?
Yeah, he's been magnificent, isn't he? You know, he plays without fear to the tee. He'll do a Cruyff turn on the edge of his own box, or he'll try and skin someone 100 times, come back and do it once more. I played against him a few times when he was at other clubs, Pennymont, and he was also, you're very skillful back then. But I just think he's grown a bit more in stature as well since he's joined us. Like I said, his performances in Europe. He really took the game by the scruff of the neck and said, "I'm going to run this game," and he did. He was class, and that ties in. He's super fit as well. He sprints around the grass and he runs all game. He's been great for us, and long may that continue, hopefully.
Yeah. Rob, we come on to Rio next. Perhaps wasn't so lucky in Europe early on. Picking up that injury on the eve of the home tie against Skandia. He suffered it again mid-season, so a bit of a bumpy one. But overall, I think he's been a really good signing. Again, another young recruit, both on and off the field. He's been really good value, I think, within the squad. He's taken to life at the club really well. He's picked up the odd goal. I look back fondly to the Carnarvon winning goal in particular. You've tied him down to another 12 months, so expecting plenty more to come from Rio?
Yeah, no, like you say, he was unfortunate, and he's not a player that I'd seen much of before, because obviously he had quite a serious injury when I think when he was at Britain Ferry, so I've not really had too much chance to see him. But obviously Tony knew him really well from Hull in particular, and he's direct, dynamic. I think versatile as well, plays in a number of positions, which obviously we don't carry 25, 30 players, so the more kind of versatility you can get, the better. But no, he's a handful, quite strong, quick. And I think he's going to improve a lot more. I think obviously, hopefully, having a good pre-season and obviously working with Tony and Waggy over that period, and hopefully keeping injury free. I think he'll be a big asset next season. I think, and that Carnarvon goal I'm surprised that wasn't in there in the top 3. I think the way obviously we built that opportunity up, and great ball from down the run was timed perfectly, and open body curled into the bottom corner. I mean, that goal would grace any league. I think it certainly wouldn't look out of place in any of the top leagues. So I think that was right up there for me, and the importance of it as well, I think, was also a factor in that. But no, look, he's exciting. I think he can improve a hell of a lot as well. So keen to see what he can do for us next season. Fingers crossed, injury free.
Definitely, yeah, and I do believe it was joint fourth in the nominations, that goal. But yeah, it was a crucial one. 1-0 away at Carnarvon's always a great result. I'll come to you for Martel as well then. His CV got big headlines last summer when he arrived. He obviously scored that crucial goal out in the B36 in the Faroe Islands. His goal set us on the way, to a big tie back in Cardiff, but also he went into the season, picked up 12 goals across the year. How would you look back at your fellow Londoners' time in Pembrokeshire?
Yeah, it's a leading scorer. He's led the line for us most of the season. Vital goal in Europe, as you said. I kind of felt from a bit. You thought at times he was going to go on a bit of a run and probably didn't click in certain games. It felt kind of the goals came in sort of pockets of numbers rather than kind of spread out throughout the season. So I think that's probably one thing. I think he'd probably regret as well that he probably didn't get more goals. But you can tell he's a proven nine. He's got good height, and the goal against Pennybon I think shows his class. I think where he's come from. He's shown glimpses of that ability on the pitch. From you don't stay at Chelsea for 10 years and go to Fulham and have a career like that up until you're kind of 19, 20 without being an exceptional player. And I think you saw glimpses of that. For some reason, I guess at some points of the season it didn't really click for him. I think possibly was there enough service at times, and obviously up against big, strong defenders, probably again takes that time to adjust and adapt to a style. But yeah, there's glimpses of a play that will go on and score a hell of a lot of goals, whether that's here or somewhere else. I think you can tell it will click for him at one point, and he'll have a really good few seasons, I'm sure.
Definitely, great memories when you look back of the three of them over the last year. Rio's winner in Carnarvon, Martel's goal away, his hat-trick too, I think stands out as one of the memories for the season in that win against Colwyn Bay at home. But probably for his performances, particularly in Europe, that penalty, Tommy Morgan's reaction on the commentary with S4C Scorio will live long in the memory. So for that, probably the reason why Mr. Kai Whitmore has picked up the Bluebirds Nest Newcomer of the Year for this season. Congratulations to Kai. Last but not least, the biggie, Nest Player of the Year, the most hotly contested award. It really, really was close. There's many members of the playing squad who have enjoyed good seasons, who have picked up votes, but even didn't make it. Dan Hawkins comes to mind, Forsey, Willie, Oscar and Luke. They've all had really good days at the office, I think, but we'd be here all night, I think, if we speak about them all. So this award, it's been narrowed down to the three of, Mark Jones. I think he would have found a way of getting Zach Jones into his Welsh squad if he could, because Zach accompanies our Wales Sea internationals, Rees Abruzesi and Lee Jenkins, in the three candidates. Reflecting on the season, Del, I'll come to you first then. You've probably missed playing with those three along the back line.
Oh, yeah, massively. They're all, if not the best in their field within the league, I think. They're definitely in the top three of each of their positions across the league, if not the best. Zach has had an awesome time here so far. He came in and had to bide his time a little bit. And then that number one spot came available and he grabbed it with both hands and he's been there ever since. He's got some really healthy competition now with Ifan as well, because he's a fantastic keeper too. Just another one of the youngsters coming through that's, doesn't look out of place and he can be comfortable in any game he plays in. Jenks exactly the same. Like I said, he do well to find a better defender than him in the league. Yeah. Calm, nothing really phases him. And then Rees is just electric, and I played with him as a kid, so I knew exactly what he was like before when we played together. Obviously played against him a few times when he was at Barry. And, I was delighted when he came to Haverwest because, he brings so much to our team. Defensively, attacking, he can do it all. And you've seen that across the course of the season. I'm just glad he's getting the recognition that, he deserves, because I think he was a bit unfortunate not to stay in the professional game from the off. But, so be it. It's a game of opinions. But, yeah, hopefully now he can start getting the recognition he deserves, because he's probably one of the best left-backs I've played with.
Amazing, yeah. And I suppose the most exciting part, Rob, is the fact that all three of them have put pen to paper and are with us for another year. How important for you was it to keep hold of them?
Yeah, massive. I think you can see how well they've all improved this year as well. I think Jenks, particularly as an all-round footballer, he's always been commanding centre half, amazing in the air. But I think with the way that we play, I think he's adapted really well to that this season. I think he's become a lot better footballer, and you can see that by how well he played in the Wales Sea, and he'd probably walk into any Cymru Premier club. I've got no doubt about that. Zach, again, like Skip said, he's had to be patient, but when he came in, he's made it his own from the get-go. I think he's quite aggressive, obviously great shot stopper. So I think he's going to only improve and play at a high level. And yeah, Abruzzese, he was one we wanted to tie up as quickly as possible, and we were discussing quite early into the season about whether we can come to an arrangement to keep him here a bit longer. Yeah, I think we managed to act fairly early, and it was never really in doubt that he was going to stay. Jenkins actually is the only, hopefully the first and only player I've ever signed myself, because it was obviously a target when Nicky was there, but when obviously Nicky left, and in that time before we appointed Tony, he was a player we still wanted to get. So I take some credit for completing the signing of Lee Jenkins. But yeah, no, three of the most exciting players in the league, and amongst others that are not mentioned there that we've managed to keep on as well, the likes of Dan Hawkins, Rio, Ethan, as Dylan said, is I think he's going to be a top keeper. You saw that with the performances that he put in when Zach was out for a few games, a Cardiff Met away game, particularly when he saved a penalty in the last minute. So yeah, those three are obviously really keen to sign fairly early, but you look at there's probably 8 or 9 that we've been definitely, and that we have managed to retain, and we wanted to retain throughout most of the season. So just keeps a real good spine of the squad together, which we kind of lacked in previous seasons. So hopefully it will hold us in good stead, having a real kind of steady group that are going to improve.
I think each of them would be worthy winners, and I think if we could split it in 3, we would. But we will go with the results of the vote, and I'm delighted to announce that the Bluebirds Nest Player of the Year 2023-24, affectionately known as Dave to the supporters. I think he's known as Abruzzi to Tommy Morgan on Scorio half the time, but it's Mr. Rees Abruzzese. Congratulations, just pipping the other 2 ever so slightly to the top spot. Congratulations to all the award winners. Thank you to everyone who's voted. That does bring us to a close. Guys, it's been great to reflect on the last year, a never-ending year, I think it seems, throughout many parts of the year. But I think we can all now slightly put our feet up and enjoy a couple of deserved few weeks off. Well, until baby arrives still.
Yeah.
The Bluebirds Nest will return for a special one-off in July to celebrate 20-year anniversary of a special event. But until then, thank you both for your time. Thank you to everyone who has tuned in this year. And for now, over and out.
What a wonderful world, my darling. Such a beautiful thing we're starting. What a wonderful world, but we're parted. We're parted. Birds in the sky, you passing by. When I'm with you, there's nothing else I wanna do. Oh, baby, 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 oh, baby. Birds in the sky, you passing by. When I'm with you, there's nothing else I wanna do. Oh, baby. Baby, oh baby, baby. Bluebirds